Hi, I'm Gianna Madrini. We're here for the Deep Ellum 100 meeting to help award the grants. I'm here with Pete Friedman and Bree and Chris Llewellyn. I'd like to introduce each one of us. These are people from our community who are going to help us highlight the stories of the people that applied for Deep Ellum grants. And we're so excited to finally be able to distribute these grants in Deep Ellum. Let me turn it over to Pete and we can get started.
Hi guys, I'm Pete Friedman. I'm the founder and publisher of CentralTrack.com. I guess the goal here is we're going to just familiarize you guys with some of the applicants who submitted. I think there's 20 in total that we have. And we're going to split that up amongst four kind of categories, which we're each going to go through and kind of describe some of the applicants that we got. I guess once the goal is to help you guys get a little bit more of this information so that if you were one of the donors, you'll be able to submit your selection as to which applicant from each of our categories you think is most, I guess, in need of this help. I think we all need the help, but unfortunately, there's only so much to do, but we're happy to do it and help our own. So the first applicant we have here is Stanley Mungaris. Stanley, I can tell you, I know is the one of the singers in Cure for Paranoia and Collab and the band Group Therapy, and his blurb reads as follows. Gigging was my main form of income before all this. I've been doing online shows with a digital tip jar in the meantime, either solo under the name Couchella with the Cure for Paranoia brand. This has brought in enough to eat on during these times, but he lives with his girlfriend, Jenny, his daughter, Ivy, and they're moving out of their apartment soon. They've been here 6 months longer than their original lease intended, and they've been paying month to month. And now they want to, now the landlord wants to get them another lease at a much higher price. So they're in the middle of moving out, dealing with a lot of this stuff and all the tough times everyone's having. And he's just talking about how he wants to see the neighborhood come back to life that has done so much for him, whether chosen for this grant or not. I'd like you to know how awesome and appreciated the support is. So, yeah, I think we can all agree with that. So it's Stanley. Next up, we have Jeremy Rodriguez, who's also a member of Cure for Paranoia. Jeremy says our primary source of income has been performing again of late, with the majority of their performances in Deep Ellum. They frequently play at Three Links, Trees, High and Tight, The Freeman, Wits End, Bomb Factory, and a number of other local establishments. They play 3 to 5 times a week normally. But all of those shows, festival dates, and tour dates have all been canceled. The pandemic has been financially devastating, although the band is happy to have its health. Studio work, the band's secondary source of income, has also slowed down. Other musicians' recording budgets have disappeared, and social distancing has deterred clients from visiting the studio. So a lot to deal with on multiple fronts. Next up, we've got Kevin Atkins. Kevin is in the band Upsetting. Kevin writes. He lives in Dallas with his band, and his bandmates Caleb and Charlie live in Denton. And this pandemic has greatly affected the band and with their gigs and what little extra income playing to 3 to 4 shows a month provides. This money would help them take care of that, as well as help the band set up the funding for recording their next album. I can personally confirm that all of these bands are pretty great. Next up, we've got Jordan Edwards. He's with the House of Frequency DJ Collective. He also performs under his own name as well, although I'm blanking on it. It's kind of like I Am You. It's like an ethereal instrumental soundscape project. Basically, yeah, he and his DJ partner have been, they've lost all of their gigs around town, particularly in the Deep Ellum venue Shoals, where they have a Monday night gig. They've been streaming to keep the spirit alive, but having that weekly income from that weekly event at Shoals disappearing has greatly affected his income. Next up, we've got Justin Thomas, another member of the Collab Cure for Paranoia collective. He says, hi, most of my income was based off shows that we were playing, and the residency at Three Links, which abruptly stopped. JT also works as a audio engineer and records with a number of Deep Ellum bands. And yeah, same thing. The studio being hit, or the pandemic really just affecting the studio situation. The grant is much needed and would help us bounce back. We love Deep Ellum, and we're happy to have this place call home. All right, next up we've got Jamie Garcia, or it might be Jaime, but he goes by Sweet James. He writes that he's lost gigs that he had lined up, and he was hoping would help him get set up as a musician here in his second home of Deep Ellum. Again, yeah, he's just happy for the opportunity to potentially right his financial situation. Lastly, I believe, yeah, we've got yet another Cure for Paranoia member. We've got Cameron Smith, which is That Kid Cam. He says he's lost thousands of dollars since the pandemic began, for all the same reasons that his other band listed, like in terms of their regular gigs, but as well as their touring and festival plans, with venues closing because of the pandemic and festivals also being called off. Without these gigs, there's been zero revenue income for performance, and it's currently his only occupation and only source of income. So any assistance, he says, would be greatly appreciated. And that is the musician and band category. Yeah, I mean, so when we first set this up, John, it was like we first started talking, I think, in late March, right? I forget when we actually went live with the campaign. May 15th. So then when, it seemed like things were maybe bouncing back for whatever reason, and whether or not you agree with it. The bars were open and some shows were starting to happen. But obviously in the wake of this current spike that we're now experiencing, the venues are shut down again. So any hope that things were maybe coming out of this have dissipated once again.
Pete read all the musicians. I'm going to read about the service workers. Bree Sargent is going to talk about the artists that have been affected. And then we have Chris Llewellyn that is going to present the small businesses who have applied for a small business grant. But we are a long shot from getting back to normal, it's everything is out of our control. All we can do is try and support each other, and this has been a wonderful outpouring from the community, really helping us raise this money in a very short amount of time, now we're really excited about being able to distribute the funds. So that's the next step, and we're counting on you, the donors, to help us select the recipients here in Deep Ellum and keep paying it forward as much as we can. So I'm going to go ahead and start reading about the service workers that have been affected. First, we have David Joel Vega. David Joel worked with Club Dada, Trees, and Canton Hall. He says, "My family has been affected by the closures because I'm a sound guy. The venues I work at, unfortunately, decided not to do any more live streams during the shutdown, I haven't worked since March. We were denied unemployment, so I've been living off our savings, but that's pretty much gone." I think musicians really, which are a big part of Deep Ellum, are suffering as well as everyone else financially. But these are small guys who really are going through tough times. Let me keep going through this. The next person who I have here is Daniel Carpenter. Daniel worked for the Green Room, and he says, "I haven't worked since March 15th, and like many of the bars in Deep Ellum, the Green Room is never open on Mondays. So we casually got off work Sunday with no idea we wouldn't be returning to work for the unseen future. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I stay at home while it does make sense for me to safely be out of everyone's way. This delay in work has placed a financial burden on me. I could never have seen this coming. In November, I finalized my divorce. Because of lack of work, I am not able to see my daughter. I got to spend some time alone, but I'm stressed about losing my home and funding. And very sorry to hear of all the things that happened, Daniel. But thank you so much for applying. Let's move on to the next one. The next person is Diana Narcisse, and she worked for Booties and Deep Ellum Hostel. The Deep Ellum Hostel is the first hostel here in Deep Ellum, and
She's worked at a number of places.
yes, yes, she's worked at every single place here in Deep Ellum, I think. And she says, I lost my job and am currently losing my apartment because I can no longer afford the rent. I hate leaving Deep Ellum, but I hope that I will be able to continue to work in the neighborhood. This is someone that we see who's been here in our neighborhood for a long time, and
all the time.
yes, she's worked just about every place. But that was Diana Narcisse, and then we have Jason Rodriguez. Jason works with Niwa, Japanese. He says, I've been out of work for the last 3 months. It has affected my work, and I'm unable to find things to keep me busy and financially afloat. Even though these have been recent spikes, I will have to get back to work in order to stay afloat. I have 4 children, and I hope that this grant goes to people like me who need the money. So that was Jason Rodriguez. Next is we have Lance Brown. Lance worked for Trees, and he says, hi, I've been out of work since March 5th of this year. I've been working Trees, Bomb Factory, and Canton Hall since 2015, and the Deep Ellum Outdoor Market for the last 2 years, which all paid me cash under the table and random music festivals around Dallas-Fort Worth. So when this pandemic happened, I wasn't able to get unemployment and wasn't able to get a stimulus check because I have not filed. Now I have to move from my apartment. I sold my vehicle so I could have some cash for my cell phone each month and to get stuff to be safe. And since I don't really have any cash left, I've just been going to churches to get food when they give it out. A few friends helped me out when they could. I explained my situation, and y'all could hopefully help. Thanks. That is really hard to hear some of these stories. Let me keep going through my list. These are the service workers that applied for the Deep Ellum grant. Another young lady, her name is Savannah Lofton, and Savannah worked for the Nines and Loafers. She says, my partner and I are both affected by everything that's happening right now. I'm a manager, bartender at the Nines in Deep Ellum at 2911 Main Street. We were thriving finally, and I felt everything was finally going well after years of struggling. Then COVID hit. We have not been able to work since the end of February, and until the places like the Nines opens again. We live in the Case building, and we are worrying about finding, work and paying for our apartment. We live in the smallest loft here, but we are draining what little savings we had built up, and now are having to move out to try and find something less expensive. All right. And last, we have Tom Trin. Tom Trin works for 7-Eleven.
We all know Tom.
Yes, I think everybody.
I think we all do.
Everybody knows Tom. Yes, if you go to 7-Eleven in our neighborhood, he's usually always there, and he says the windows were broken out of our store, merchandise was looted, and our gate was broken. I've been affected with less hours, and I hope that you can help. And that was Tom Trin. So these are just some of the people that we see every day in Deep Ellum who have suffered a lot of financial hardship. And yeah, we know these faces, and we really appreciate you guys, helping support the service workers in Deep Ellum. And with that, I'm going to pass it on to Bree.
Okay, hi, I'm Bree. Today I'm representing Deep Ellum Radio, but Otherwise, I'm a musician. I'm friends with pretty much everybody in Cure for Paranoia and Jordan Edwards. We do a lot of stuff together. So I know this all to be true. Today, I am presenting the visual artists. I have three, two of which I know personally very well. Okay, so the first one is Luna, representing the business Malware. Says the pandemic shut down 3 important presentation opportunities, and a studio that he had rented out in the Cedars had to be put up for rent. And he goes on to say that he noticed the Instagram page and started following. And even though he started following the Instagram page, asking for help never comes easy. So, Mark, we wish you all the best, most definitely. Next, we have Andrew Sherman, who is a pretty good friend of mine. I actually first met him way back some time ago when there was Chevy Music Showcase, and he was one of the photographers. And I was playing with a band that they had, and he moved from LA to Dallas, oddly enough, for a better opportunity. But now here we are. So his business is Drulio Photo. I'm paraphrasing here. I know this personally. I've seen him all the time at Deep Ellum Art Company. He was on payroll there, and he's not technically closed, but he says that he's an event photographer and concert photographer. But since there are no events and no concerts, he doesn't really have much work. And he also shot for the Dallas Observer, which he hasn't been able to do for the past 3 months. And he's just hoping that any assistance from any he hasn't really gotten any help from government programs, so he turned to Deep Ellum 100. So, Andrew, my friend, I wish you all the best. Last but not least, we have Isaac Davies, also another good friend of mine. He's also in Collab, so he's not only a visual artist, but probably one of the best rappers in Dallas. If you've been around Dallas and you've seen murals, most of them are his murals. Oh yeah, he is the visual artist in Deep Ellum. So he says that he usually paints murals both inside and out, anywhere from Deep Ellum Brewery, the Brain Dead, Big Guys, Independent Bar, all over the place. He's prepared historical art, McMurray Metals, Expo Alley, and he volunteers as an art teacher. And he's been a muralist for 15 years, and he's exhausted most of his resources. Me knowing him, I know that he has a lot of resources, so saying that he's exhausted most of those resources is really tough to hear. So, my dude, I wish you all the best. Yep, that's it for me. I'm going to turn it over to my guy over here.
And I'm Chris Llewellyn, and I own a small business in Deep Ellum. We own a screen printing company and a design house, and we have been in Deep Ellum for 5 years, and I've been doing it for 20.
And you employ a lot of musicians.
Yeah. So from Sea Lion to Loafers, to upsetting to and to Vandaliers, to I can't remember the others, but so most businesses down here were hit pretty hard, and to say the least. But I think the people have been hit harder, in a sense. But I have the list of the 3 businesses that applied, and they start out with Boba Addiction. It's Randy Hu, and they have the little shop across from now Terry Black's, and so they were hit pretty difficult, or it's been pretty difficult for them, he says, and it's been about an 80% decrease in sales in March through May. He said when the vandalism from the riots, I guess, came through that side of the town, they damaged his mural and a bunch of his hanging stuff that he had all around. So he's been hit pretty hard in that situation. So that's Randy from Boba Addiction. And then we have Orange Salon. It's Mary Boras. Is that I'm saying that right? Boras. She had to close her salon because of COVID. And then most of her windows were broken out during the looting. And so that whole front on the side, I think she's got 4 or 5 huge windows that were busted out. Her clients, she was affected by her clients not being able to come because of the curfew for that bit. And now because of the riots, it's kind of pushed people away from Deep Ellum. And then, so as they're trying to work, they haven't been able to make enough of a comeback to feel good about it, and their clients don't feel safe being here at the moment. And then we have Niwa, Jimmy Niwa, and it's Niwa Japanese barbecue. And Jimmy's been waiting until the 75%. What do you call it? 75%. A lot occasion or whatever. And so that just happened, and then now has been recessed or whatever, gone back. And so now he's kind of having to shift again, and the pivots keep happening in these businesses, but they're never.
They got hit with the window smash.
Yeah, it looks like they got hit with that, and then some mural damage as well. So windows all busted out, door busted out if I remember correctly, and then the murals as well. And so that's Jimmy Niwa. And those are the 3 businesses I have that have.
So I can just tell you, me personally, listening to all that, it's really heartbreaking. I mean, these are all I recognize personally most of, if not all, those names. I think we're very thankful to everyone who has who donated. I don't know what the total number of people was. Do you know? I don't know how many people, but we got to $10,000, which was the goal.
Wow.
So everyone we're gonna the next step is this. There's gonna be a voting process with the people who donated, and one of each of the names that we read off will be awarded a $2,500 grant. And then I know there was some other stuff that was maybe in the works. I don't know if we can.
So we're awarding 4 grants. We need your help to award those grants to a small business, bar, or restaurant. Those are the small businesses. To a service worker, to a visual artist, and the musicians. And we have also gotten some additional funds from one of our donors who is going to be offering gift cards to everyone who applied. So everyone who applied gets a $200 gift card. In addition, this particular donor has offered some additional money for grants to help service workers, musicians, and artists because he feels that these are some of the categories that have been affected the most. So we'll be going to be letting you know about that. But in the meantime, for anyone who applied, please, we're going to post on Instagram, let you know where to pick up your gift cards. So you can do that immediately, as soon as tomorrow if you'd like. Everyone who donated will get an email, and the email would have all the 4 categories, and you get to vote just once in each category. And so we're going to leave that open for the next 3 days so that everybody gets a chance to vote. Another really, really fun thing I wanted to let you guys know about, Chris is responsible for helping us do this. We created a new Deep Ellum t-shirt for the neighborhood, and on the back of the t-shirt it has Elm Street, Main Street, Commerce, and Canton, and it lists every single business that is in the neighborhood. So if you ever wondered who's here, who do we need to support, you're going to know who these people are. And I want to thank Chris Llewellyn for making that possible for us. And that t-shirt will be available this week. So we'll let you know more about that t-shirt as well.
I think it's, I don't think the neighborhood or really anywhere has ever experienced something like this before, where it so affects everyone across the neighborhood. But I'm really happy to be a part of this effort that is doing what it can to help as many as we can. And I think it's great that there's going to be a little bit of help for kind of everybody who applied. And I want to say thanks to everyone who donated, because I think that is truly emblematic of the Deep Ellum spirit and support that exists here. in this neighborhood we also love and adore and cherish.
And I want to say thank you to Gianna and Pete for putting this together, because there is a lot of us, we wanted to kind of figure out how we could help, and y'all have actually given us a source to do that. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, and I will say too, Johnny and I don't know if this is breaking news, but the hope with this organization is that this is just round one. You know, like maybe if it happens in the fall, like we need help, that might be something we explore. Maybe even just annually as a way to, you know, not just spread out, but maybe more targeted ways of helping those in need. Deep Ellum stands up for one another, and I think Deep Ellum 100 hopes to keep doing so as the neighborhood does. So
I want to thank our donors especially for helping us make this possible. That's the most beautiful thing I've seen. It happened really quickly, and we're glad that we're able to turn this over and get it distributed quickly as well. So we need your help to do that. So please vote. Please participate in our voting process, and let us know what you think we can do in the future. We'll keep you posted on the other plans that we have, but I want to thank all the applicants as well, and let them know that.
It takes a lot of courage to ask for help, and even just reading through some of these things, it was, people are really bearing their souls, and trouble is out there, and that's not something that that takes courage, and it takes, I think, fear sometimes to force that. But we thank you guys for putting yourselves out there like that, and asking for the help, and because I think that's something not enough people do, is ask for help when they need it, and we're really. I think that's something we all can be better at. So, yeah, thank you guys for having that courage and putting yourselves out there, because I think people want to support where they can.
One more thing is the email will go out today, and so you'll have that. You can look at it whenever you have time. We'll have the audio from this meeting so that you can refer to it and listen to the stories. We really appreciate everybody tuning in, giving us their time, and their giving us the support that we've gotten. Thanks so much, guys. We appreciate it. I want to thank you again for all your support, for supporting Deep Ellum 100. I wanted to let you know that there will be an email going out to all the donors. Everyone who donated gets to vote and participate on the recipients who will receive the $2,500 grant. We will also send a link for YouTube where you can listen to the audio files of the meeting today to refresh your memory. But the email link for the voting survey will also feature the stories about all the applicants. We look forward to sharing this news with you as soon as we find out who the winners are. And again, I can't thank you enough for supporting Deep Ellum 100.